Have you ever imagined how your life might change if you stopped letting the little things get to you? Those offhand remarks, awkward glances, or irritating actions that seem to throw you off balance. What if I told you there's a way to train yourself to stay unaffected by all of it? This isn't about magic or superpowers. It's rooted in the time-tested principles of Stoic philosophy. Picture yourself facing any situation with unshakable calm, where nothing and no one can disrupt your inner peace. Sounds appealing, right? Well, it's entirely within your reach. In today's video, I'll walk you through 11 steps that can help you cultivate this level of resilience. Don't miss the final step, because at the end of the day, the power to shape your experience lies entirely in your hands. You alone decide whether something is worth ruining your day or if you'll choose to remain unfazed by it. Ready to transform your mindset? Now, if you are new here, please like the video and subscribe. Statistics show that only 15% of my audience is subscribed to the channel, so if this content has helped you in any way, I ask you to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Let go of perfectionism. In today's world, perfectionism has become almost a norm. Just scroll through social media, and you'll see everyone living seemingly flawless lives with immaculate homes and picture-perfect bodies. But here's the truth. It's all an illusion, as real as a unicorn in a parade. Perfectionism is like a demanding friend who insists you must be a superhero in every aspect of your life. But chasing this ideal will only leave you exhausted and frustrated. Life isn't a superhero movie. It's the reality of everyday life where you wake up, work, and go to bed. And that's plenty without the added pressure of being perfect. The first step in overcoming perfectionism is understanding that nobody is perfect. It's like trying to brew the perfect cup of coffee every time without considering that coffee has its own temperament. Imagine striving for perfection daily, only to notice a tiny flaw each time, pushing you to the brink of frustration. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Stoic philosophy teaches us that complete control is an illusion. While the idea of controlling everything might seem tempting, the reality is that external factors are often beyond our grasp. Life isn't a simulation game where you can adjust all parameters to your liking. Accepting this truth means stopping the futile fight against the wind. So, how do you free yourself from the chains of perfectionism without lowering your standards? Start by shifting your focus from perfection to good enough. If your work is well done, your presentation is on point, and your coffee is decent, that's a victory. Worrying about every detail will only drain your energy, offering little satisfaction in return. A practical strategy is to act as if nothing bothers you, not in a passive-aggressive way, but in a way that helps you let go of what you can't control. If something goes wrong, instead of lamenting over it, ask yourself, is this the end of the world, or just a minor setback? The difference between those who live happily and those who stress over every mistake lies in how they handle these small stumbles. Perfectionism is like chasing a horizon that always recedes. It's exhausting and ultimately futile. Instead of striving for perfection, embrace your mistakes and learn to navigate through them. True mastery lies in recognizing that while it's good to aim high, there's nothing wrong with not being perfect. In fact, it's freeing. Next time you find yourself caught in the perfectionism trap, remember that life isn't a competition for perfection, but a journey of self-discovery and growth. And at the end of the day, the only real perfection is embracing imperfection. As Oscar Wilde wisely said, perfection is a myth. Authenticity is true perfection. Practice gratitude. Take a moment to reflect on how you perceive yourself in the mirror of everyday life. Does everything seem to irritate you? Think about how often you've complained about your coffee being cold, or the traffic being unbearable, you might be surprised to find that your outlook could drastically improve if you just took a minute to practice gratitude, a simple yet powerful habit. Gratitude is like a secret ingredient that we often forget to add while we're busy drowning in our daily struggles. Imagine you're a chef preparing a delightful meal. The secret ingredient is gratitude, but instead of adding it, you focus on the fact that the salt shaker is out of place. What if you pause to savor the taste of the food? You might realize that the salt shaker isn't as important as you thought. When you focus on the positive, as Stoicism teaches, you can transform a mediocre meal into a feast worth celebrating. You might wonder, how can I put this into practice? Don't worry, here are a few strategies to help you avoid becoming a character in a melodrama. Start your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. These don't have to be monumental achievements, just simple things like a hot cup of coffee or avoiding heavy traffic. This exercise shifts your focus, making what once seemed irritating more manageable. When you're in a frustrating situation, remember to breathe and count to 10. It's like taking a break in a tennis match to adjust your racket. Instead of focusing on what's bothering you, try to find something positive in the situation. For example, if you're stuck in a long meeting, think about how you can use that time to reflect or plan your next big project. Reality has a funny way of adjusting our perspectives. What might seem like a massive drama in the moment often ends up being a minor blip in the grand scheme of things. Stoic philosophy, with its focus on accepting what we cannot change and directing our energy toward what we can control, reminds us that our attitude is what truly matters. So instead of letting small annoyances and problems overwhelm you, practice gratitude like it's an Olympic sport. It's not about ignoring your problems, but about shifting your focus to what truly matters. Life becomes more manageable when you decide that the positive outweighs the negative on your emotional scale. Practicing gratitude might seem so simple that you wonder if it really makes a difference. But over time, you'll find that it helps you turn small obstacles into minor bumps on the road to a more fulfilling life. Be thankful for what you have, appreciate what others do for you, and watch as your perspective shifts. As Marion Rogers wisely said, those who are grateful for little find abundance in every corner of their lives. Practice acceptance. Let's prepare ourselves for a lesson we often overlook in our fast-paced lives, the importance of acceptance. I'm not talking about the latest self-care trend or a new diet that promises to make you feel invincible. This is about something much deeper, developing a mindset of acceptance. But don't worry, I'm not going to dive into a complex philosophical lecture. Instead, let's break it down into something anyone can understand. Imagine your life as a grand theater production. You're the lead actor, but here's the catch. You can't control the script you've been given, nor can you manage the performances of the supporting cast. They might interrupt you, forget their lines, or even steal your spotlight. Sound familiar? The key lies in how you choose to respond to these unpredictable surprises. Too often, we spend more time trying to change what's out of our control than accepting that some things simply aren't in our hands. Think about how often you get upset because of someone else's behavior. It's like trying to stop the rain with a broken umbrella. Accepting that you can't control others' thoughts or actions is the first step to finding peace of mind. Sometimes it's better to remember the wisdom of the Stoics, who teach us that true strength lies in how we respond to what happens to us. First, pause and take a deep breath. I know it's easier said than done, but a deep breath can be your best ally. Then ask yourself, does it really make sense to lose sleep over something I can't change? The answer, more often than not, is no. The only thing you can truly control is your reaction. Here are some techniques to help you stay calm. Visualize a shield of tranquility around you. protecting you from stress and criticism. Whenever something bothers you, remember this shield helps you filter out the noise and focus on what truly matters. Act as if nothing bothers you. This approach is more effective than it sounds. When someone gets on your nerves, make a conscious effort to act as if their behavior has no impact on you. It might feel like you're pretending at first, but over time this attitude will become second nature. Pause and smile. Although it might feel forced at first, smiling genuinely when you're in a stressful situation can trick your brain into releasing endorphins, the happiness hormones. Try it, and you'll see how gradually you start handling uncomfortable moments with ease. Accepting that you can't control everything around you is liberating. It's like learning to dance in the rain instead of fighting the storm. This shift in perspective allows you to focus on what you can change, your reactions. So, next time someone tries to push your buttons, take a deep breath, smile, and remember that you have the power to decide how to respond. After all, true control lies not in the chaos around you, but in the calm within you. As the Stoics remind us, true strength isn't about changing the world, but about changing how you see it. Cultivate patience. Ever noticed how small sparks can ignite a forest fire? I'm not talking about a literal blaze, but rather those little misunderstandings or comments that can spiral into a major storm in your life. It's like we all have an invisible button that, when pressed, turns us into experts in the art of immediate reaction. But what if I told you that patience could be your hidden superpower? Imagine you're in a heated conversation, like a verbal duel. The other person throws out a comment that could easily make your temper boil over. But instead of lashing out, you decide to take a moment to breathe, almost like a Zen master in the eye of the storm. The result? The argument deflates, and you keep your composure. It might seem like magic, but it's actually Stoic philosophy in action. Patience is a muscle we rarely exercise in our busy lives. We're conditioned to react instantly, treating every small challenge as if it were a national emergency. But the truth is, most of the time, these minor irritations or misunderstandings aren't the end of the world. If you can give yourself a moment to breathe and think before responding, you can stop a spark from turning into a wildfire. How can you cultivate this superpower called patience? First, remember that not every comment or action requires an immediate response. It's like having a pause button in your life that you can press at any time. Instead of jumping straight into the fray, start by practicing mindful breathing. When you feel your patience wearing thin, take a deep breath and count to 10. You'd be surprised how much a simple pause can shift your perspective. Another helpful technique is to imagine yourself as an actor in a play. Your emotions and reactions are part of your role, but you have the power to choose how to perform them. Act as if nothing bothers you, not because you're indifferent, but because you're choosing your response instead of letting your emotions take the lead. It's a graceful way to stay calm and prevent small issues from escalating into major crises. Additionally, adopting a Stoic mindset can be incredibly beneficial. Stoic philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control and accept what we cannot. Instead of clinging to every hurtful word or misunderstanding, recognize that sometimes the best response is no response. This doesn't mean becoming emotionless, but rather choosing to manage your reactions in a way that promotes your well-being. Remember, we're all navigating life's storms together. Patience is like a life jacket that keeps you afloat when the waves of frustration threaten to drag you down. So, next time you're confronted with a misunderstanding or an unpleasant comment, remember that your superpower is patience. Use it wisely, and you'll find that the storm passes much more quickly. As Carl Jung once said, patience isn't just the ability to wait. It's the ability to remain calm while waiting. You have now reached the halfway mark of the video. I congratulate you for trying to become a better version of yourself, and I also humbly ask you to leave a comment, as it helps my channel immensely. If you do not know what to comment, just write "I have the power," so I know you reached this far. And don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Also, I've linked some books on Stoicism that helped me become the man I am today, and will also help you achieve a Stoic mindset. Practice empathy. Have you ever been in a conversation where it feels like someone is throwing emotional fireballs at you, leaving you wondering, what is going on here? It's like trying to keep your head above water in a sea of other people's emotions and reactions. This is where empathy comes in, a powerful tool that, although often talked about, is rarely mastered. Let's dive right in. Imagine you're at a party and someone who's had a bit too much to drink starts venting their frustrations on you because they felt left out of a conversation that didn't even involve them. Instead of firing back, consider adopting a Stoic approach. Act as if it doesn't bother you and use empathy to understand where this person's anger is coming from. Empathy is more about observing from a distance than engaging in the drama. It's a skill that's challenging to master but incredibly valuable. So, how do you apply empathy in your daily life? Start by letting go of the belief that the world revolves around you. Yes, it's tough on the ego, but it's essential. When someone is irritable or unpleasant, it's easy to assume they're targeting you, but often they're wrestling with their own issues. Their behavior might be the result of a bad day, personal troubles, or simply an emotional imbalance that has nothing to do with you. Here's the key. Instead of taking it personally, try to put yourself in their shoes. Ask yourself, what might be going on in their life to make them react this way? Perhaps they're exhausted, overwhelmed, or just looking for an outlet for their frustrations. This doesn't mean you should let people walk all over you, but it does mean recognizing that others' behavior often isn't about you. It's like getting hit by a wave. Instead of fighting it, you ride it out. Practicing empathy allows you to rise above the emotional chaos without getting dragged down by it. It's an approach that not only protects your inner peace, but also helps to diffuse tension and opens the door to more effective and respectful communication. Stoic philosophy, which teaches us to maintain our composure in the face of adversity, fits perfectly with this mindset. To practice empathy, start by listening actively, not just to the words but to the emotions beneath them. Then respond in a way that shows you've understood the other person's perspective, rather than just waiting for your turn to speak. Sometimes a simple "I understand how you feel" can dissolve a tense situation and lead to healthier communication. Empathy isn't a magic cure for all problems, but it can be a powerful ally in your daily interactions. By practicing empathy, you not only become more understanding, but also more resilient in the face of emotional storms. So the next time you're caught in a whirlwind of others' emotions, remember that staying calm and empathetic is always a better option than getting swept away by the chaos. True wisdom isn't about avoiding the storms, but about navigating them with grace and balance. Maintain assertive communication. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where, to avoid conflict, you ended up swallowing your own words and frustrations? You're not alone. It's easy to fall into the habit of acting as if nothing bothers you while, internally, you're seething. While this approach might have its roots in Stoic philosophy, it's not always the healthiest strategy. The truth is, maintaining assertive communication is far more beneficial than hiding your feelings behind a mask of calm. Picture this. You're at a party and someone accidentally steps on your foot with their sharp heels. Instead of shouting, you politely ask them to move. If you had acted as if it didn't bother you, that person might have continued stepping on your feet all night. Assertive communication allows you to clearly express your needs and boundaries without creating unnecessary drama. It's true that speaking up isn't always easy. It's like trying to dance a tango without stepping on your partner's toes. You don't want to cause trouble, but you also don't want to be a doormat. This is where assertive communication becomes essential. It's not about being confrontational or rude, but about finding the balance between expressing your needs and respecting others. Think of assertive communication as your emotional GPS. If you don't set your destination, you'll end up wandering aimlessly. The same applies if you're unclear about what you want and need. Lack of clarity can lead to misunderstandings and resentment that build up like grease in a kitchen until they're hard to clean. The key is to learn how to express your feelings and desires directly, but with tact. This doesn't mean you should become the ambassador of brutal honesty, but rather find a way to communicate that's sincere and respectful. If something bothers you, say so. If you have a boundary, express it. Don't hide behind a facade of calm while you're boiling inside. Moreover, staying calm shouldn't be your only strategy. If you find yourself losing patience, it's better to step back and take a deep breath. Remember, setting boundaries isn't an act of aggression. It's a way to protect your emotional well-being. Stoic philosophy teaches us to manage our emotions, but that doesn't mean we should ignore them. Assertive communication is your best ally in maintaining healthy relationships and avoiding built-up resentment. Acting as if nothing bothers you might seem like an easy way to dodge conflict, but in reality, it only postpones an inevitable emotional outburst. So, next time you're in an uncomfortable situation, remember that expressing your needs with clarity and respect is the best way to avoid misunderstandings and resentment. As Nelson Mandela wisely said, speaking clearly is the first sign of respect for yourself and others. Practice mindfulness. Have you ever felt like a volcano about to erupt during a social event? That moment when someone says something that lights a fire inside you and you're on the brink of spewing a torrent of angry words, but instead you choose to stay calm. It's a fascinating experience, like being a Zen master in an action movie. The key to this miraculous balance is what the Stoics might call mindfulness. But don't worry, you don't need to sit in meditation for hours or chant mantras to practice it. Mindfulness, in simple terms, means being fully present in the moment without letting your thoughts drag you into a cycle of rumination and overreaction. Imagine you're in a video game where, instead of being on autopilot and reacting impulsively, you have a remote control that allows you to pause, reflect, and then act. Social situations, with their unexpected comments and awkward moments, provide the perfect training ground for this skill. First, let's focus on the essence of mindfulness. It's like having a magnifying glass that lets you observe your thoughts and emotions without getting swept away by them. Instead of instantly reacting to an offensive comment, you give yourself a moment to assess the situation. This pause gives you the space to choose a more measured and less impulsive response. For example, if someone at a dinner party makes a remark that irritates you, instead of immediately firing back with something you might regret, you can pause, take a deep breath, and decide how to respond calmly. It's not about ignoring the problem or pretending it doesn't bother you, but about not letting your emotions dictate your actions and lead to an overreaction. It's like being on a dance floor where, instead of moving to the music without thought, you choose your steps deliberately and with purpose. You can practice mindfulness through small daily techniques. For example, before responding to a message or comment, take a moment to count to 10, breathe deeply, or visualize a calming scene. A helpful technique is to imagine your mind as a calm lake, with each disturbing thought as a stone thrown into the water. Instead of allowing the ripples to spread uncontrollably, visualize the lake returning to its peaceful state after each disturbance. This exercise helps you maintain serenity and avoid overreactions. In essence, mindfulness isn't a magic trick or a quick fix, but a consistent practice. By staying present and not letting your emotions control your actions, you can find a balance that allows you to respond with calm and reflection in social situations. So, the next time you're faced with a provocative comment or an uncomfortable situation, remember that you have the power to choose how to respond. As an ancient Stoic philosopher might say, true strength lies in maintaining your inner peace while the world around you shakes. Surround yourself with positive people. Picture this. You're in a beautiful field of flowers under a bright blue sky. Everything seems perfect until someone starts tossing stones at you, telling you what to do with each one. Now imagine those stones are the small annoyances of daily life, and instead of getting upset, you decide to build a castle with them. It might sound absurd, but there's a valuable lesson in it. Surround yourself with positive people. At first, this advice might sound like something out of a generic self-help book, but it's rooted in a deeper truth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the environment we choose greatly influences how we live. Just like a plant needs fertile soil to thrive, we need an environment that supports our mental and emotional well-being. Consider this. Being around people who constantly complain and see the glass as half empty is like living in a perpetual storm. Everything becomes grey, heavy, and frankly depressing. In contrast, positive people are like the sun breaking through on a cloudy day. They help you see the bright side, remain calm during challenges, and prevent minor issues from snowballing into catastrophes. This doesn't mean you should only surround yourself with people who are always cheerful and agreeable. It's not about living in a bubble of positivity, but rather about balancing the negative influences in your life with a healthy dose of optimism. If you surround yourself only with pessimists, you'll inevitably start to adopt their mindset. But if you build and maintain relationships with people who have a positive outlook, you'll be better equipped to handle life's irritations with a smile rather than a scowl. So, how can you maintain your composure even when the world seems against you? First, practice acceptance. Stoic philosophy teaches that we should accept what we cannot control and focus on what we can. If someone insists that the sky is green, just smile and move on. The key is not allowing others' opinions and attitudes to affect your emotional state. Second, seek out company that uplifts you. This doesn't mean cutting ties with every friend who has a negative moment, but rather prioritizing time with those who bring light and positive energy into your life. Don't forget to invest in relationships that are mutually supportive, where you give and receive encouragement equally. Finally, remember that you can be a source of positivity for others. If you want to be surrounded by positive people, start by being a positive influence yourself. Good vibes are contagious, so spread your own sunshine and watch it reflect back from those around you. The next time you feel irritated by the small stuff, ask yourself, are you in a field of flowers or caught in the middle of a storm? Surround yourself with people who help you see the blue sky. And if someone throws stones at you, remember that the best response is to build a castle of patience and serenity. Acting as if nothing bothers you isn't just a matter of attitude. It's also about choosing the right environment. Now, if any part of this message has been helpful to you, leave us your like and comment, helping the algorithm recommend it to someone who needs it at this time. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss new videos. And if you look through the videos we've already uploaded, you're sure to find something to take with you. Have a good day.